I've never understood the premise of a road trip. Driving in a cramped car with annoying siblings, car-sick dogs, and two directionally challenged parents operating a GPS system when you could have just taken the plane. Spending hundreds of dollars of gasoline, food, and campsites in order to save a few dollars in ticket fees, and having my body turned into a real-life connective dots worksheet for mosquito bites never appealed to me as an ideal vacation. Needless to say, I always found traveling to be overrated. My parents did everything they could to get me interested in the world around me, but in all of my overseas trips, all I can remember is my younger brother so bored that annoying me was his only entertainment, and jet lag so intense that frustration and exhaustion are the visceral reactions I have every time I hear about the possibility of another family vacation. Getting unwilling bodies out of the door and corralling them into cramped quarters for some good old-fashioned family bonding is so overrated that I've devised my own ideal road trip. This plan is a foolproof method to getting kids excited about the world around them, and it doesn't involve any of the annoyances of traditional trips. Actually, I haven't come up with my own plan, and I likely never will, because road trips are just an excuse of following tradition for the sake of following tradition. And my biggest pet peeve in life is being a marionette of tradition. And it isn't just that I'm not a fan of tradition itself, it is that when tradition becomes so accepted by the general society that complacency rears its ugly head in every aspect of life. In fact, it seems as though tradition is so loved by American society that we never get change to occur. The Bush administration, as Stephen Colbert said, was the perfect example of America's perfect abeyance of tradition. After all, we can say that President Bush was a president so grounded in his beliefs and stances that his position on domestic and foreign policy were the same on Monday as they were on Wednesday, no matter what happened on Tuesday. If Bush were to go on a road trip to an impoverished area, he'd return and still decide that the poor are not taxed highly enough. If Bush went on a road trip to Wall Street, he'd likely come back from it seeing the illegal behavior, but doing nothing about it, and then turn around and act all surprised when the economy collapses. Even something as asinine and detrimental as Bush's presidency can't begin to tap the tip of the iceberg of America's reliance on tradition. Partially because after Bush's era, we decided that climate change was so okay that allowing that iceberg to melt would solve our problems, but mainly because at its very core, America is willing to take a reductionistic approach on any complicated issue. It's why we see Trump advocating for a wall on the Mexican border. It's why we see Fox News freaking out over Starbucks coffee cups that aren't festive enough and calling it a war on Christians. It's why we still have the penny. A piece of currency that costs 1.7 cents to make. Yes, we are so reliant on tradition that we lose money to create money that we are more likely to throw into a wishing pond in a mall than we are to ever use in the market. It is the reason why we still have the Second Amendment. America is so reliant on tradition that you would think the right to own a gun is above food, water, and shelter on the lists of things necessary to life. I mean, those Republicans do have a point, because by cutting so many social programs, there will be a day when our society will actually devolve to a point where we might need them. The intentions behind the Second Amendment were good. There actually once was a time when the government had all of the authority to revolt against the people, and those people did need protection from a system stacked against them. But in the modern world, where you are more likely to die from eating a government-subsidized McBurger than to be attacked by the government, there's absolutely no reason for us to be up in arms about our right to bear them, especially with all of the negative consequences. 2015 has been a year of many broken records by America, on everything from having the stupidest presidential candidate to the number of mass shootings exceeding the number of days in the year. But there's no need to worry. Surely those gun-toting Republican proponents have their reasons for advocating a laissez-faire attitude to gun regulations. Actually, on second thought, it doesn't seem as though they have reasons, because in the 2012 Sandy Hook massacre, the GOP finally decided that children dying in mass shootings was something they'd rather pray about in church than debate in Congress. But I digress. Tradition is the reason that the right wing regulates women's uteruses more than guns, that the lives of children gunned down in school shootings don't matter as much as the lives of fertilized eggs. It is the reason that despite illegally immigrating to the Americas, we oppose Mexicans living as our neighbors. Imperialist tradition is the reason that America sees the Dawes Act as a significant enough reparation to the native people who originally lived on this land before it was stolen from them. Tradition is the reason why religion is so ingrained in the state that the separation of the two is something we cannot even begin to envision. We see religious arguments against gay marriage, like in Leviticus 18:22, when it says that if a man lies with a man as he would with a woman, that he should be stoned. But the problem with this statement isn't even that the GOP is trying to take away access to marijuana, which is the thing that actually gets you stoned. The problem is that a 3,000-year-old document written entirely in metaphor governs the people more than a real system. And this all has roots in tradition, just like those pointless family road trips. So before submitting to another one of those obligatory road trips, think about what you're really a part of. And I promise, you'll feel less bad about skipping it.